Hey guys, Lady Luck's back with you, and I'm at the third part of the Q&A. So if you didn't see parts 1 and parts 2, please check those out. I will link them below. And thank you again so much for your questions. I'm actually going to rapid fire through the rest of the questions on the list because I really don't want to make a part 4. I've got lots of other content to bring you, but I want to make sure that I answer everyone's questions. So literally write down the list. They might not be grouped, but I think that'll be fun. It's a little surprise of the type of questions that's coming up next, but they're generally around, fashion icons and office politics. So Mixed Rapunzels asks, do I have any recommendations for good Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Hermes for Midwest weather? Boots, hats, scarves, blankets, etc. So yes, I am from the Midwest. I think that might have been a question that someone asked me in the comments. So if you're watching right now, I'm originally born and raised in Cleveland, and so I understand what winter truly means. And I also appreciate that we don't have true winter down here in Atlanta. So yes, I do have recommendations. Out of my own collection, I have a pair of arm warmers to go under your coat. They leave the fingers out, but they would add another layer of warmth. Those are by Chanel. I would also recommend any Chanel, sort of combat boot or winter boot is great. Scarves, there are some nice thick ones. There is one called the Logomania scarf by Louis Vuitton. I have one in black and silver. That one is nice and thick and warm and woolly. Blankets, so Chanel makes some really nice, sort of wool throw type blankets. So that's nice for cozying up by the fire. You guys can see a Chanel pillow behind me. There's an accompanying blanket. I also have a pink and black blanket that I could use as well. For hats, I really don't do luxury hats because I tend to lose hats. So I will just go buy a basic Scully from Target and then put a Chanel brooch on that Scully. And all of a sudden it becomes a Chanel hat. So I've never understood buying luxury hats, especially since they tend to be, upwards of $500 to $1,000. To me, that's just, it's not the best use of money given that they're so easy to lose. And then, of course, gloves. So I hauled a pair of gloves, black leather gloves as part of my haulathon. Those might not be great in Midwest, really, really cold because they tend not to keep you as warm as you would like to. And I've never seen any fleece-lined Chanel type gloves. Hermes may make some. I've never seen them. That doesn't mean they don't exist, but I just haven't seen them. But also they make a lot of, wool gloves and items like that you can buy. So I would say, really anything that's available in the commercial market would be, is probably available in the luxury market. But I know from my own personal collection, I own scarves. I own non-designer hats that I make designer. I own gloves, and I own arm warmers and also boots. Christian Louboutin also has some really nice boots. I've got a pair of fur-lined Christian Louboutin boots with the heel, and then I've also got the combat boots that I hauled during my haulathon. So I will also link my haulathon playlist below, and you guys can check that out if you've not had a chance to check that out. So Mixed Rapunzels, thank you for your question. I hope that answers your question. Tiffany Turner asks, do I have any style icons? Yes, and they may actually surprise you. So for me, number one, the woman who always just looks so chic is Victoria Beckham. We could not be any more different in body types, but I just think she is so put together and so, stylish without being over the top. If I could emulate anybody's style, it would be hers. I also appreciate Marjorie Harvey. I appreciate... from the world of reality TV, actually, I really like from Real Housewives of Orange County, Kelly Dodd. I think whoever her stylist is does an amazing job. Who else? I also think Kyle Richardson from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is very stylish. I'm trying to think if there's anybody from the Atlanta crew where I'm like, ooh, you constantly have it together. Not that I would say are my style icons. They're things that I appreciate that they wear, but I wouldn't say like consistently day over day there's someone who I can't wait to turn on the TV and see what they're wearing. So I hope that that helps, Tiffany. All Things LSY asks, if I could only keep one bag, which would it be? If I could only keep one bag, it would be my Chanel Maxi and black caviar with gold hardware. It's just such a versatile bag. I mean, I don't like carrying very big bags to formal occasions, but you could. I mean, you could stretch it, you could make it work. If you have a work event, it would be large enough to fit an iPad. If you're a mom, it's great to stick snacks in, and you can still fit your wallet and a little bit of makeup in there, and a change of clothes for a small child. So I answer that question based on the versatility of the bag, and that would be the one that I would keep if I had to get rid of all other bags. Because probably tied for number one and number two right now, my favorite fashion houses are Chanel and Hermes. If you had asked me that a year ago, I would say Chanel was number one, but with the price increases, I filmed a video on that. They're getting a little close to Hermes, and so why not have Hermes if you have to pay only a couple thousand or $1,000 or $2,000 more? That's my point of view. Cici Libre asks, what is my favorite downtime activity? So I happen to be a very type A person, so I am constantly doing something. So downtime is something that I have to work really hard to do. But when I have downtime, I really do like to read. I really do like reality TV. I know it's not, the best use of my time, but I find it thoroughly entertaining. I like to spend time with my family. I definitely like to shop, for sure, when I can get out and go shopping. I like to travel. I don't know if that you would consider that a downtime activity, but I'm starting to film more vlogs, and I'm starting to get more comfortable in the vlog universe. And so I know my vlogs aren't great right now, but I'm trying to film a little bit when we travel. So I would say reading, watching TV, shopping. Oh, I can't believe I forgot my number one activity. I love genealogy. So I have researched my family tree pretty extensively, and it's something that I'm really doubling down on in 2019. I am going to a genealogy conference in May just to get some more tips, tricks, and techniques. And it might be something I do as a hobby, helping people, especially people of color, explore their family tree, because I know it's not necessarily as straightforward as others, especially with the history of slavery in the United States. There's some things that we need to know to be able to go back as far as we possibly can. And sometimes, there's a limit to what we can know. But I'm really, one side of my family tree, I was able to get all the way back to England and Ireland. And it's just various branches, right? When you look at my parents and then their mother and father, following all of the branches back to the family tree. So genealogy is a really big one for me. Cici Libre also asks, entire handbag collection, when will we see it? You're seeing it now. So it is releasing fashion house by fashion house. At this point, I've started with Fendi, and also YSL, Prada, and Valentino has been uploaded, and you will see them continue to roll out by fashion house. They will also be linked into one playlist so that anyone who wants to watch end to end will be able to do so. I don't know how many handbags I have. I will know the answer to that after we film that video. So it's fun for me to pull everything out and just hold it and talk about it for a little while. So I hope that if you guys are watching that, you're enjoying it. If you're not, go check it out. Mayette Cherry, I think that's right, Mayette, Cherry, says, being that your collection is extensive, have you ever forgotten that you own a certain bag? Yes, I've forgotten that I own a certain anything. I'm lucky. I think I covered this a little bit in my closet tour, but in case you didn't watch that, I'm lucky that I have a very large closet where most of my items are on display right in front of me. However, I do need some more space for things like accessories, and I'm more likely to forget that I have an accessory than I am to forget that I have a handbag, just because they're all so pretty much clearly displayed. So just like anyone else, I mean, I'm sure you might go into your closet and something's in the back and you go, oh, I forgot I have that. That happens to me too. And then she asks, do I ever feel that my bag indulgence is excessive? And she means absolutely no shade. I don't take it as any type of shade. No, I don't feel like that it's excessive because it's in proportion to the rest of my life. So I have, if you go back to my very first videos on my channel, it's a very, very different channel. At that point, I was working the baby steps of Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover. My goal was to be debt-free, and I maintain that to this day so that I could do things like this. So for those of you who have not been watching me for a long time, it's not like, ba-doom, I just, started buying bags at the expense of everything else in my life. I'm very much a first things first person. I'm a professional woman, and so I have my priorities straight, and I can indulge in bags because I've made a lot of hard choices earlier and have set myself up in a way where it's not detrimental to anything else. So I hope that answers your question. The Trendy Minimalist asks, can I do a financial tip at the end of every video? I would rather do full videos on financial tips and advice. So that's something that people have asked me to do, especially if they look at the whole catalog of my videos over time, and I'm happy to give that advice, but sometimes I would feel like it wouldn't fit with a handbag haul as an example. Sometimes I do say, I do a disclaimer before or after to say, if this is not working for your lifestyle, don't try and be like me. I can do things like that, but I would rather keep the financial tips to a financial video, and I hope that makes sense. Maxine F asks, do I set a specific dollar amount aside every month for luxury purchases? So, and then I think there was and then Joyce Fagafa asks, do you have a personal accountant or do you decide how much to spend yourself? I decide how much to spend myself, and my luxury budget is really based off of investments that I've made over time. So if those investments pay off well, then I have a larger budget to purchase luxury items. And if I don't, I have a smaller budget. So my luxury handbag budget is over and beyond, my household budget, if that makes sense. I start off at the beginning of the year making a plan for things that I want to do around the house. And there's still some home improvements that I want to do around my house. I think about other goals that we have, like, taking a vacation. I definitely have a savings goal. I have a goal associated with paying off my house as quickly as possible. I'm giving myself 5 years. And then I have an allowance that I say, I am aiming to spend, or not aiming to spend, but I am budgeted to spend X amount of dollars on luxury over the course of the year. And then I break that into quarters. Now, if the investments that allow that don't pay off that quarter, then I spend less that quarter, or I might spend nothing that quarter. So really, that's how I make decisions. Do I have a personal accountant? Yes, we have someone who does our taxes, and yes, we have a financial advisor. But my husband and I are both pretty financially savvy, seeing as that's sort of the field that we're both in. And so, it's a great sounding board, but I wouldn't say that we contact this individual before we make a lot of our financial decisions. I think some good financial advice that I can give is to think about your life and what your priorities are, and then think about what you have coming into your house, like the income that you have coming in, and then you go down the list. But I think the first step to really understanding your financial priorities is understanding your life priorities. And so, we have a list of probably 5 things that we want to get done. And basically, as we get money, we both are agreed on what item number 1 is on the list, which happens to be paying off our house. And so, that is where the extra money will go first. And then it goes to the second priority, if that makes sense. So I didn't mean to go too long into that question, but I hope that helps give context around how much I spend on luxury and how I make those decisions. Chic Professor also asked about the style icons, And she says if I could only keep 5 handbags, which would they be? So, of course, the maxi in black with gold hardware. I would have to have a clutch, so it would probably be some sort of neutral clutch from my collection. It would probably be a black clutch. It would probably be one of my black Chanel clutches. I would have to have a tote, which at this point would be my most easy to carry tote. I hope you can't hear my kids upstairs playing. My most easy to carry tote is that Christian Louboutin tote that I hauled over the summer. I would have to have my work bag, which would be my Chanel Executive Surf Tote. And then I would have to have a fun bag, which would probably be, gosh, am I just running the gamut on Chanel? You know what? It would be one of my Birkins. It would be probably my Birkin 35. So I almost said something that I don't want to talk about yet. All right. So I hope that helps, Chic Professor. By the way, I love your channel. If you guys aren't watching her channel, please check it out. I know there's a lot of people here who are interested in professional and career advice, and she is also one to follow if you like that sort of thing. Rhonda Page asks, would I consider selling some of my unwanted pieces? Yes, and there are a couple that I'm sort of tossing around in my mind with selling. I typically don't sell my handbags, but there are some that, there's one that I'm thinking about that's kind of a duplicate, and a couple that I'm thinking about that are less used. So if I decide to sell any handbags, I will definitely do a vlog sale first, and if they don't go on the vlog sale, then I will probably sell them through Yugi's Closet. So yes, I would consider selling some of my unwanted pieces. Coco Orenstein asks, do I shop alone or with a friend? I typically shop semi-alone. If anyone wants to meet me to go shopping, I'll definitely do that with a friend. But, you know, I'm a working mom and I happen to be friends with a lot of other moms. And, you know, it's not often that our schedules line up where we can just do a day of shopping. So I'm typically on my own, or you might see me out with Bailey or Bailey and CJ. So, yes, I do shop generally alone. Miss Onatemi asks, do you ever think that you will ever have purse piece? I know I hauled a lot in 2018, and I think I'm sort of there mainly I will always be a collector of beautiful handbags, but mainly from the aspect of now what I'm buying going forward. I got everything that I wanted as a foundation, and that's a pretty big foundation, I admit. But going forward, I'm only going to buy special pieces. So you will see going forward on my channel a lot more, a lot less quantity and just more, I think, exclusivity on the channel. And then I'll also, since I have an extensive collection of handbags, start to do more reviews and comparisons and Q&As and things like that. So I think I'm there. I will always probably buy a series of luxury handbags over the year, but now it has to be a really special item that I really want. I can't think of anything that's on my wish list with the exception of Hermes Kelly bag, and that's either in the 32 centimeter or the 35. And I think I would like another Chanel backpack in a color, and I'm thinking a red, the sort of one that sits up a little taller and has the flap. I think I'd like to do that. Am I dying to do those things? The Kelly is definitely a real want for me, but the rest of it we'll see as it comes along. So I think I got some pictures. Oh, and I'll be doing ready to wear for sure. So I got some pictures, and actually another picture just came through on my computer as I'm filming this from an associate that I work with. So I'll see what she has. But I found myself lately on most of the things that I'm sent and most of the things that I see passing. So there are definitely some ready-to-wear pieces in this next Chanel, I think it would be 19P collection, that look interesting to me. There are a couple really cute sweaters that could be nice. So I might pick one of those up. So I hope that helps with the first part of your question. And the second part of your question I answered without reading it, which was, is there a bag I'm waiting for before I get to purse piece? There's just the Kelly that I really want, but I will always buy bags. Bonita Ellis and Coco Orenstein asked, how do I choose the right handbag to go with my outfit? It's interesting because I dress starting with a different piece all the time, and it's just a way that I change it up and kind of go with the flow of what I'm feeling. Sometimes I dress from the shoes up, so I say, ooh, I really want to wear these shoes today. I'll wear this outfit, and then I'll pick a bag to complement that outfit. Sometimes I will really want to wear a bag, and I'll start with the bag, and I will pick the outfit and the shoes to complement it. Sometimes I really want to wear a certain outfit, and I will pick a bag and shoes to complement that. So it really just depends. Again, I'm lucky enough where I can see everything in my closet. So it's relatively easy to choose a handbag that coordinates with what I'm wearing. And of course, my choice in handbag has a lot to do with what's going on for the day. So as an example, today we'll probably go out and see a movie with the family or something. And I'm not going to carry a clutch to that. I'll probably carry a shoulder bag or more likely a crossbody bag. If I am traveling, I love carrying my Pochette Matisse because it's just such a durable bag. So yes, it depends on how I'm feeling that day, where I decide on my body to start dressing, and what I have going on for the day. So I hope that helps. Coco Ornstein also asks, what is my go-to place to shop for makeup? And does Beverly, who's the sales associate at Phipps Saks that I talk about a lot on this channel and is a dear friend, take me through makeup? So I'll answer the second part of the question first. Beverly connects me with people that are the best at Saks. And so Beverly has connected me with a lady named Deborah who works at the Chanel makeup counter. And that's where I love Chanel foundation. I get a lot of my foundation there, but she's just a wonderful makeup artist, and she shares things with me. I wouldn't say that's primarily where I go for my makeup. Also, there's a guy named Melvin at the Dior counter. If I want to get my makeup done for an event, Melvin is doing it. He is really great at what he does. And then I would say beyond that, it's generally Sephora is where I get my makeup from. I've got a couple, I really like the Kat Von D Lock-It foundation for when I'm going to be on camera or I need a little bit more full coverage, although I'll never be a super full coverage type of person. That I get from Sephora. I'm definitely VIB Rouge. I get a lot of my perfumes from there because I like the fact that things go on sale. They do 20% off a few times a year, and I appreciate that and take advantage of that. I know you didn't ask about skincare, but as far as skincare is concerned, I did a skincare routine video, and you might notice that I use a lot of Obagi products. I get those from Skin Center, I would say, is the best way to describe it. So I hope that helps. It's really all over the place. And I don't stick to one brand. I have a variety of brands that I use. I really like, I have a lot of Chanel lip glosses and a couple lipsticks, but I really like YSL and Dior for lips. I really like Chanel and Kat Von D and Dior for foundation, just depending on the occasion. For eyes, I like Tom Ford and Kat Von D. So, I mix it up as far as my makeup is concerned. Okay, so the next series of questions are on time management. And Barbara Phillips asks, as a professional, how do I manage my time for work, family, YouTube, cooking, cleaning, and rest? So as I mentioned before, I am very much a type A person. I always have to be doing something. Rest is something that I've had to learn about as I get older, as I've gotten older. So I tend to be a very organized person, and I tend to be able to compartmentalize very well. And so I have tried to set my life up in a way that I have very good childcare, which both of my kids are in school. So I'm now comfortable, of course, that they're in school. But when they were smaller, I always tried to set myself up with great childcare where I didn't spend my time at work worrying about what was going on in their childcare situation. So when I'm at work, I try and be very, very efficient about how I use my time. When I am at work, I am at my team's disposal, and then I get my own work done around their needs. When I am at home, I'm fully at home. So I'm not that type that feels like I got to check my email every 5 minutes to see if something's going on at work. I try and be with my kids or doing something around my house or filming my YouTube channel. So, it's just really about, being as efficient as I can with my time. as far as rest is concerned, I try not to do the things that I really don't think are the best use of my time. And bear with me with this conversation. So I have someone who cleans my house. I, don't think I'm really good at cleaning house. My mother, that's one of the things that she really taught me how to do well, is take care of a house. So I can do it if I need to do it, but I don't. And so that's not where I want to spend my time. So I pay someone who's wonderful at it to do that for me. So it's things like that I try and outsource to allow more time in my day. And then I also think it's about getting really clear on what your priorities are. For me, my priorities are my family and my kids, professional, and I have a few hobbies. One of them is YouTube. So actually, although filming videos and editing videos and all the things that we do on videos is a lot of work, it's a hobby for me, so it feels like rest, if that makes sense. Also, I am really making a concerted effort, like today is a Sunday as an example, to keep my Sundays sacred, which doesn't mean anything necessarily religious. Certainly, church is part of the plan. But to make sure that I don't have any major work that I'm trying to do, trying to make sure that my Sundays are about rest and relaxation and the things that I choose to do rather than things that I have to do. My grandparents were really great about that, and I'm trying to be really good with that as well. That has been sort of learned lessons over time. And then the last thing that I will say, and I mentioned this in a video about a year ago, but every day I try and pick 3 things that I want to accomplish, 3 and no more than 3 things. And so when I go to work, I've got my top 3 things that I need to get done on my list. And they are on a to-do list, but what happens is I transfer them to my calendar because you need time. So if I have a 30-minute slot between a meeting, then I will put something that says, plan for this person visiting the office, and I'll make that plan. So those are just little ways that I use to manage my time and to fit it all in. And then also one thing I want to say is I understand my limitations. So I have a lot of people who watch my channel and say, oh my God, your lighting, it should be better. And oh my gosh, you should be better. Okay, yes, I get it. That's great. Sometimes the lighting is inconsistent, but I don't have the time for a elaborate setup. And I also don't like visually having equipment set up in my house all the time. So if it comes between that and it's something I feel like I can't sustain, I would rather not do it. So I'm very, very aware of my limitations, and I definitely always want to make improvements in everything that I do, but I also am very conscious about what's possible and what's not. Ray, yes, asked a similar question about how I organize my life and manage my time and which tools I use. So I do have a planner, and I'm going to do a separate video on that. I have a Louis Vuitton planner, and again, it's really those top 3 things that I decide I'm going to do every day. The only day that I don't have a top 3 is on Sunday. And so it's really, what are the 3 critical things that I have to do today? And it forces you to think about what's truly important, right? Versus what is, you guys have heard the urgent but not important. That wouldn't go in my top 3. But, what do I need to do to basically push what I'm trying to do forward? And that all spurs off of, what is my plan for the year? I talked a little bit ago about my financial plan for the year, but I also have certain things that I want to do for a year. As an example, as a very personal one, I would like to lose a little bit of weight. And so I have a goal to lose 10 pounds by March 31st. And that is specific, it's measurable, it's time bound, it's that whole thing. And I think it's also achievable. And so I'm not talking about doing anything crazy, but I think, that's something that I would like to achieve. And so you break that down into smaller steps to say, how am I going to get there? So I hope I'm going to do a whole another video on goals and what I want to accomplish for 2019. I know we're into 2019 by a couple of weeks, but I can talk more there about tools. I will also recommend, while we're on the topic though, a resource, and I talked about this in my, I think part 1 of my Q&A. Yes. A book by David Allen called Getting Things Done. And it's basically about a process and a mindset that will allow you to get things done. So if you can't wait for my video, check his book out. It's very, very good. It's one of those books. I probably read his book almost 15 years ago, and it was very impactful for me. The one thing asks about the type of planner I use a Louis Vuitton GM planner, and I will talk about that in a separate video. And I think that's it on time management. I want to make sure. Oh, okay. Here's another one, another stray one, stray one that's just sort of at the bottom of the page. I don't mean to call you stray. I'm just talking about the way I've organized these comments on this paper, which is Gina Derrickson asks, how many designer bags do I have? I don't know. We'll find out during the designer bag collection videos. Do I sell to make room for new ones? I do not. I really like everything that I buy, and I'm very intentional about what I buy. So generally not. Although there are some ones that are less used that I still love that I'm considering selling. And do I share my collection with my sister? It's funny. So I read your comment, and then I was talking to my sister, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. I would share my luxury handbags collection with you. One, none of my sisters live here in Atlanta. They're all living other places. And yes, I would share my collection with my sister if they were local, but she said, you know what, I'd be so scared to, use one of your luxury handbags that I would mess it up. So, my sisters are not as into luxe as I am by any stretch of the means. They appreciate nice things. And if they ever have a need, absolutely, they could borrow anything in my closet. But it doesn't tend to happen just because of geographic separation. Oh, sorry. Kathy Ann Hicks mentions, how do I juggle work, family, and YouTube? Share your planning and execution schedule. So I think I answered that, and I will share a planning video in a separate video.